With the redacted Mueller report due to come out tomorrow, the Justice Department has decided that illegal immigrants who apply for asylum in the U.S. must be jailed while their cases are considered.
Attorney General William Barr says asylum seekers who demonstrate credible fear are no longer eligible to be released on bond. That reverses a long-standing U.S. policy. Julia Manchester is a reporter for The Hill. She joins us now from Washington. Julia, the Attorney General said the new policy on asylum seekers will take effect in 90 days. What kind of logistical challenges does this present?
There are so many logistical challenges with this, Nikki. First of all, ICE is really going to be pushed to the limit because this means that thousands of more immigrants will be detained for a much longer period of time. Now, it's important to note that these immigrants are older than, minor age, the age of 18, because minors cannot be held for more than 20 days, I believe, in custody. However, this is going to really put those detention centers to the test, and they're already being overrun with the amount of migrants coming over the border and the lack of resources at the border. It's interesting. We've heard a lot of Democrats propose sending more judges down to the border to process all of those asylum claims. However, this is clearly the Trump administration going their way and taking a much more hardline approach on this issue.
Yeah, when I heard about it, I thought, isn't this basically zero tolerance 2.0? And we know how that turned out. We have these overcrowded facilities that can't handle. We have children who cannot be reconnected with their parents because the system doesn't know where they are. So how much of this can be attributed to the president with his focus on the 2020 election?
I think, Anne-Marie, this is going to contribute much to the president, and I think the president is very much behind this policy. Let's not forget, in 2015, when President Trump launched his presidential campaign, he launched it on the issue of hardline immigration policies. And he once again in 2018, even though he wasn't officially on the ballot, he pushed the issue of immigration. And we've seen him over the past couple of weeks push that hardline immigration stance, whether it's threatening to close down the border, cutting aid to Northern Triangle countries such as Guatemala to get them to care more for those potential asylum seekers coming to the U.S. So this is very much in line with President Trump's policies, and it's already getting pushback from Democrats. We're seeing the ACLU talk about potential, lawsuits against this. And the big question here, I think, has to do with the issue of due process. Is this taking away the right of due process from these immigrants?
Julia, big day tomorrow. The Trump administration is preparing for the release of the redacted Mueller report. Although we don't know exactly what it says, what can we expect both Democrats and Republicans to focus on when it does come out?
Right. So you're actually hearing there is some anxiety within the White House about what could be in the report. I mean, we're going to see a lot of details and, some accounts of closed door testimony from Trump officials on Capitol Hill and to Robert Mueller himself. So that will be something that Republicans and the administration will be watching. However, on the Democratic side, they're going to be looking at this question of obstruction. Why didn't Robert Mueller come to a conclusion? Did he think that this is something that should have been left to the Justice Department or to Congress? That's going to be a huge thing. And then Donald Trump Jr., they're going to want to hear what more details came out of that meeting at Trump Tower with the Russian adoption attorney. So you're going to hear a lot about that in the report if it's not redacted. We're not sure how much is going to be redacted in this report. However, if there's a lot of national security considerations, we can expect a big portion of this report to be redacted.
Well, the Attorney General sort of mapped out the 4 categories that he was going to redact. And my question to you was going to be, do we have any idea just what the percentage could be in terms of how much of this could be redacted? Are we looking at, we've seen some of these reports where it's sort of the entire page is blacked out with the exception of one word, and.
Yeah, so it's really hard to tell at this point. It really depends what we're talking about, if you will. I mean, the Attorney General did say if something is redacted, there will be footnotes at the end of the page to discuss why it was redacted. We've heard that the Attorney General wouldn't necessarily redact information that could be embarrassing to President Trump, but maybe to private citizens. And it's important to point out that Donald Trump Jr. could fall into that category of being a private citizen, meaning not working for the federal government or the administration. So that's going to be something to watch.
Julia, the president has also been focused on Senator Bernie Sanders this week after he held a town hall on Fox News. Trump says the senator should pay the taxes he would have owed before the Republican tax bill, and Bernie has responded. Does the president fear a challenge from Sanders?
It's very possible. We didn't think the president would maybe go after these potential Democratic opponents this early. I think a lot of political watchers were thinking maybe the president would sit back, kind of let them fight it out amongst themselves. However, the president has been challenged by Sanders before. I mean, in 2016, Sanders did pose a credible threat to President Trump when he was making headways in the Democratic Party, in the Democratic primary, if you will. So I think the president does fear, he understands that Bernie Sanders is making headway. He is the front runner without Joe Biden jumping into the race. And I think President Trump also knows that they share a bit of part of their base could be shared, if you will. In the Midwest, you have those blue collar working class Democrats who have said that they are attracted to President Trump's policies on trade as well as Bernie Sanders' policies on economics and trade, that very those protectionist tones, if you will. So I think you're going to see a lot of crossover there in terms of those voters, and I think that's what the president could be looking at. I don't know if he's concerned necessarily yet because it's so early on. However, he's definitely paying attention.
A lot to keep an eye on in Washington, as always. Julia Manchester, thank you.
Thank you.